Today, I'm going to be teaching you how to drift in Car Dealership Tycoon. I'm first going to be going through the bare bones of drifting, how to drift. Then I'm going to be teaching you how to do some party tricks. So make sure you stick to the end to find out how to drift in this game. Also, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 100k by the end of the year. Hello people. Welcome back to Car Dealership Tycoon. Today, we are going to be learning how to drift. Now, drifting is obviously something that is very cool to do in this game. And once you get used to it, you can do it for hours on end because it's so fun. Now, a lot of people try to drift and just completely fail. And then there are pro drifters, which basically drift like Ken Block and all of them lot. Today, I'm going to be teaching you how you can become kind of like those people. If you want to be able to drift very well and impress everybody at the car meet, please like and subscribe. Now, some of you may have seen that I've recently hopped on YouTube Shorts. Now, if you've seen some of my YouTube Shorts, you'll see that I'm quite a decent drifter in this game. You know, I can do a couple twists and turns and packs and potions and everything. What? I'm a pretty decent drifter. I've also got how many? 22,000 miles. And I'm in crippling debt. See, I say that there's a guy with 38,000, 124,000, and 222,000 miles. I am an ant in this game. But point is, I'm a pretty decent drifter, and I'm going to be teaching you guys how to drift. Now, before I get into this, I just want to say that this tutorial is kind of like specialized for PC playing. It may be a bit different on phone. So if you can pull it off on phone, props to you, my friend. That was awful. See, I'm going to teach you guys how to not be like this gentleman here. Raj. Hello, Mr. Raj. Hello. Can I just say something, right? You do not look like a Raj. We have another one. Yeah, you look a bit more like Raj. Ali. Yes. Okay, that one's a bit off the table, let's be honest. Yeah, like I was saying, if you're on phone, this tutorial may help you a little bit to sort of know what you have to do, but you're gonna have to practice it. And it's the same if you're on PC as well. If you're watching this on PC, get on the game right now and practice this. Hello, my friend. So, step number 1 to becoming a good drifter, you first need a drift car. Now, we recently had a drift update where they've essentially changed the drift mechanics for every single car. Not every single car, but most sort of like supercar, entry-level cars. The drift car that I like to use is this thing. It's a BMW M3, except I don't think you can get this car in the shop anymore, which is kind of long. As you can see, you know, it just pretty well. Do a couple power slides. Boom, look at that. Interior is also very stripped out on this car. Watch this one. Brilliant. So this is the drift car that I use. However, we also recently had the addition of drivetrain upgrades. So even if you pick an all-wheel drive car, just for context, by the way, rear-wheel drive is what you want on a drift car because it's a bit more slippery. Did you just see that guy crash? Wow. The other two aren't really good for drifting. Now, when it comes to turbos, brakes, and engines, you kind of want the race upgrades for all of them. And when it comes to tires, you may think you want a race tire, but actually, you want either a spike tire or an off-road tire, because you want as less asphalt grip as possible. Now, before you go ahead and start tuning all these cars, I do just want to let you know, don't do this with every car, otherwise you won't be able to drive normally. Do this with one car, pick one car, and stick to it. I stuck to this BMW. Let's try a different car. Let's try something that maybe everyone will have. Perfect. Brother, I'm on one volume, just so you can hear this, right? That's how loud it is. Like, and I'm on how much? I'm on one bar. Let's go ahead and do what I said. Put a race upgrade on it. Now, this may be a bit expensive, but anything for drifting, right? Now, if you really want to make your drift car pristine, you have to copy some alignment stuff. So I'm going to make the alignment on this GT500, and I'll see you guys in about 30 minutes once I've done that. 2,000. So I've done a little bit more testing, and I've sort of turned down the scale a little bit on each of these 3 categories, and I think I've done a pretty decent job of it. Obviously, being a Mustang, it is still a bit slippery. Hey, yo, what the fuck? What the what happened to this car? Boss? What happened here? Was this you? So let's say you're a bit more serious about drifting. You want to get a really good drift car off the bat. If you have no limiteds, then it's a bit long. If you have a couple of limiteds, this Chem Block car is really good. You have the Drift Lamborghini, which came a couple days ago. But a lot of the time, drift cars will release every now and then. So if you want to be able to get a good drift car off the bat with a very good tune, keep up to date on these events. Now, I'm going to be real. I picked the Mustang kind of as a joke because, as you know, the crowd killer in it. Yeah. Now, quick word of mouth. If a car has the word Pro in front of it, chances are it is a drift version of another car. For example, this is a Drift S13. This is a Drift GT86, Drift S15, Drift C6 Corvette, Drift Supra, on and on and on. I don't know if there's like a defined list, but you kind of just have to find them. This is pretty good at drifting. So yeah, overall, in terms of picking a drift car, you can pick an average car and tune it, or you can pick a car which is a drift car off the bat, such as the Chem Block car or the Pro cars I was talking about. Though it is good to point out, not all of the drift cars have Pro next to them. Now, before I go any further, I do just want to say, I forgot to show you the alignment I have on my BMW. Use these alignments as sort of a template and then mess around with them to see how it fits your car. These alignments won't fit every car, but this is what I use for my BMW, so copy these and then change them to make it feel better. I also forgot to mention, extra low springs is also quite important. Spoilers and wheels don't really matter, but more importantly, these are the alignments that you want, and see which you like. Speaking of liking, please like and subscribe. I don't know why I interrupted the video just to say that. So you've just got your drift car. How do you actually, you know, drift? Now, if you guys just want to see a quick little raw clip of what a half decent drift looks like, let me quickly do one now. So kind of like this, you know, you're trying to keep the wheels sort of making the car go in the direction that you want. It is important to point out that all the cars in CDT have front wheel steering. So let's start this off. I'm going to use this corner by the season 10 race simply because it's quite an easy one to do. So with this corner, you want to come in at about 100 to 120 miles an hour. Though the speed that you enter the drift really just depends on how sharp the turn is. If it's a sharp turn, you want to be going a bit slower. If it's a more elongated, you want to go in a bit faster. For example, this is quite a stretchy drift. You want to go at 100 miles an hour, somewhere there, and you can drift like that. Now, let's say you get the entry speed right. The first thing you want to do is turn the car in the direction you want to go at the angle you want. And then once it's at the angle you want, you hold the counter button, well, the button you're not using, to sort of counter steer. So just for clarity, I hate that it's turn 9. Now I can't show you my tires. Turn the way you want to, point the direction, counter steer. That is sort of like the basic like ABCD of drifting. So that is kind of the ABCD of drifting. Let's get into like the Pythagoras, the calculus, all of that. So the reason why you want to counter steer is because now at this point your car will be facing the right direction for the drift. You don't want to be facing exactly where you want to go. If it's a left turn, you want to be slightly facing towards the left. If it's a right turn, maybe slightly facing towards the right. By the way, guys, if any of this does sound confusing, leave a comment down below. I'll try to reply. Also, I've got a few thousand subscribers who can also probably help you. Now, once you're facing the right direction, you want to slowly tap the same button you use to counter steer. So essentially, the physics behind this is the fact that you counter steered, and at that point your car will try to get back in a straight line. But essentially what you do when it tries to go back in a straight line, you just counter it even more, and you do that by tapping the counter steer button. And just for reference, the counter steer button is the button you're not using to turn the car. So if you're turning left, you'll probably use A, counter steer will be D. If you're turning right, counter steer will be A. So I'm turning left here, I'm going to hold A to face where I'm going. I'm going to hold D and then counter steer, kind of like that. Now, you do need kind of fast reactions to be able to manage your counter steer. Otherwise, if you counter steer too much, you'll end up in the Ferris wheel. And if you don't counter steer enough, you'll probably drift through this tunnel and crash into the building there. Look at that. And if you get good at drifting, you know, you can do a tandem. Yes, look at this. Now, I'm going to get to the more advanced stuff later on, but this is sort of like the bare bone basics, bacon hair of drifting. Counter steer, tap the counter steer, and just straighten off. Now, before I go any further, I do just want to say that it does take practice. It takes a lot of practice to get pretty good at drifting. You're not going to be Chem Block on the first try, so keep practicing, and chances are you'll be able to get used to it pretty quickly. So let's say now you've mastered the bare bones of drifting. Let's say you're able to go into this corner, you're able to turn and counter steer and do a pretty cool drift like that. Now we're going to look to how you can follow through. Now I'm going to use a different turn for this because it's just a better turn. Follow through basically means how you can do a drift after that. For this, you kind of need to know the map inside out, all the roads, because you need to be able to know, you know, where you're going to turn. So for example, if I want to turn left here, I want to drift left here, I can drift left, and then let's say I want to go right, I can just go like this. And then now I'm going right. Brilliant. So step number 1, and this is crucial, you need to anticipate where you're going to go. For example, so let's say I'm drifting here. I want to go in the parking garage. I can hold it, I can hold it, I can hold it, and I'm in the parking garage. Look at that. Brilliant. So you need to be able to anticipate where you're going to go. You can't just guess it off the bat, or otherwise it will just not work. So let's use this turn in the parking garage as an example. As you're drifting, you know, you're doing the counter and everything, but you want to hold the handbrake as you're doing it. If you hold the handbrake as you're drifting, and then tap A and D as you're doing it, it will essentially make your drift longer and not spin out. You're essentially getting extra distance. It's a good way of trying to do like an elongated drift, kind of like that. Just spam the space bar and you'll be able to make your drift go longer. Now, to make it go even longer, which don't take that out of context, please. Sometimes you'll need to straighten out your car, but don't straighten it out entirely. Go slightly to the direction you want to go, otherwise you'll just cancel the drift and you'll just go in a straight line. So let's say I want to elongate this drift. I can go like this and I can sort of go in a straight line, but not quite. I'm spamming the handbrake. You can see the tire marks are still going, but I'm basically going in a straight line. That's sort of the basics behind it, but if you apply it to a drift, you can make a drift go even longer. And this is the hard part of trying to do a follow through. You actually need to calculate how, you know, long you need to make it. If you go too short, you're gonna hit that rock and die. If you go too far, you're gonna hit that rock and die. So you need to get it really like on point. So look at this. I'm elongating my drift. And you need to be able to control it so that you can go in the parking garage, for instance. And then maybe you could do a couple donuts. This is just to show off with your friends, right? It's not like you're entering a drift competition. Well, you might be, in which case, hopefully this video will help you. And another basic thing I kind of forgot to mention, you can barely drift in gear 1. If you're in gear 1 throughout a drift, as you can see, it's a pretty tragic drift, isn't it? What you want to do is you just want to, for a second, just let go of the handbrake and let your car upshift. And then hold the handbrake again. That'll instantly take it to max RPM. If you go into gear 3 and you can do pretty cool drifts just like that. Now, this part, the follow-up, etc., does take a lot of practice. So if you want, you can go practice this now. Keep repeating this process until you're able to control the follow-up. Now you can start to learn, you know, a couple tricks. For instance, this is a turn where I kind of like to do a little, you know, 360. Oh, look at that. Brilliant. 360s are pretty cool because not many people really can actually do them. If you can do a 360, comment below. So with a 360 drift, what you want to do is you need to know which turn you're gonna do, and you kind of need to practice it before actually doing it in front of people, because essentially you need to have a reference point of where you're going to start your drift. 360 drifts, you need to be going a lot faster into the entry because you're going to cut a lot of speed in the actual 360. So for example, I like to do 360s here. My reference point is the starting board, or sort of like the edge of this building. This is sort of like my reference point. So step number 1, find your reference point and then do a 180. Do not do a 360 yet, just do a 180. Turn your car around and come to a stop. Once you're in that 180, hold S and let your car stop. That will give you a good gist of sort of like the start of the 360. Once you've done that, you can hold S and then hold D to sort of pull your car into the final bit of the 360. Also, one more important thing, if you're trying to 360 and the way you want to go is say right, you have to do your 360 to the right. Same way, if you want a 360 to the left, you need to start your 360 to the left. You can start it with the right though, it's a bit awkward. So let's get back to the corner I was talking about. Bam, other way, and you need to time this very, very correctly. Now, when you hold the counter steer to sort of pull your car into the final bit of the 360, you then need to counter steer again. So you need to counter the counter steer to get your car in the right direction, essentially. Hopefully, I'll do a couple like slow-mos and stuff so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So this corner, A to turn, hold S, D to counter steer, and then hold D again to sort of pull your car in the same direction. What is that? Nah, brother, come back here. Where do you think you're going? Sir, what do you think you're nice one, mate. Brother, what is this? Brother, there's a Pringles can in there. But yeah, let's say I'm turning left. A, hold S, D to counter steer, and then hold D again once I'm in the right direction. With the 360, because you're coming in a lot faster, you're gonna have oh, that was kind of it, you know. You're gonna be a lot more this way than if you were in like a normal drift. It's essentially the same premise, but the final counter steer that you do need to really like hold that for a long time. If you don't hold that final counter steer for a long enough time, you'll just you'll just do a 720. Now, I did say at the start of the video, go practice this as you're watching the video. Chances are you've not been able to do as amazing stuff as like these cars have done, but like I said earlier, it really does take practice and commitment. Any drifters in the comments will tell you that you don't just get good at drifting on day one. You're always perfecting it. Even I'm perfecting it, learning new tricks, etc. But once you sort of get the hang of it, it's really quite an easy and fun thing to do, especially when you're with your friends. So it's definitely a skill worth learning. Though I can't stress enough, it will take time and practice if you want to get really good at it. Now, hopefully with the skills you've learned from this video or practice from this video, you can now do some pretty cool tricks like drifting into the parking garage or drifting into a dealership garage. There's so many things you can do. So this video was kind of just a basic bare bone. You can also apply this to like in a tunnel maybe, like kind of like that. You can just go really fast and then counter steer and then counter steer again. It's all about counter steering, keeping the momentum going, keeping the drift going. If you guys want some pointers of advice, I definitely advise you learn the roads in this game. Just spend maybe half an hour to an hour just driving around, getting to know the roads, because then you'll be more set up to actually practice drifting, because you'll know where you're going to be wanting to go. Obviously, you're going to be able to do a lot more if you practice. If you want, you can come back to this video later. That's a nice view of the city in the background, by the way. Whoa, look at that. Comment down below if you are learning how to drift or are determined to learn how to drift. Let me know how your journey is going. Even me, I'm kind of learning as well. Also, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to reach 100k by the end of the year. We're almost there, so please contribute and subscribe. Bye.